Alcohol is a destructive chemical. It is only destructive once it gets inside your body. You're the one that puts it in there, and that, I think, creates destruction of its own. The fact that you are the one that's putting it in, and we know that, or you know that you're the one that's putting it in. But I want to talk about 3 of the most destructive parts of alcohol. First of all, the physical one. Every time you put alcohol into your body treats it in exactly the way it should do, which is as a toxin, and the alarm bells start ringing off. In terms of physical damage, anywhere the alcohol flows, the damage goes. And that means that when it hits your organs, it goes everywhere. Every organ in your body is affected to one degree or another by the alcohol. You know, if you think that your liver can produce certain amounts of chemicals that it needs, certain amounts of hormones, if you like, I think they're hormones, to metabolize the alcohol into first acetaldehyde and then acetic acid. And it can only do that at a specific rate, which is about 1 unit of alcohol per hour. If you don't know what a unit is, have a look it up. But beyond that, then the alcohol is floating around your system in its various forms. So as alcohol, as pure alcohol, and as acetaldehyde. So, you know, that process of metabolizing the alcohol into acetaldehyde and then from acetaldehyde to acetic acid, you know, there are only a certain amount of these chemicals inside your body that enabled your system to do that. So once your body runs out of these chemicals, it has to manufacture them, and while it's waiting for the manufacturing process to come about, these chemicals, acetaldehyde, by the way, is a lot more damaging to you than the original alcohol, but that's the process that your body goes through. These chemicals are floating around your system and doing their damage, and it even gets into your bones. Alcohol compromises your bone health and increases your risk of osteoporosis. Like I say, where the blood flows, the alcohol goes, the damage goes also. I had pain in my side, chronic pain, when I was drinking alcohol. Liver pain basically damaged my liver to a certain degree. I had a scan recently, and the scan indicated that I had fatty liver, which some scarring. There was some scarring on my liver, which is never going to heal up, but the fatty liver will heal up. And you know, there's a few more videos on this and how to deal with alcohol damage once it's done. I also had chronic digestive problems, you know, chronic irritation, chronic heartburn, chronic acid reflux. I had joint pain, joint inflammation. I just was in pain all over, and the damage was increasing. You know, the more damage you do, the less capable your organs are of doing their normal daily function. You know, the less capable your organs are of dealing with the alcohol, but the less capable they are of just dealing with life itself, dealing with the things that they're designed to do. The next part of this is the mental. Now, when I was drinking alcohol, it used to turn me into a moron. Or used to turn me into that kind of thinking. Every 1 step forwards that I took, I was taking 2 steps backwards. And that from a mental perspective. You know, how can you move forwards when your brain is just being crushed by this mental lobotomy, this chemical lobotomy that you're giving yourself? Think about all the imbalances that are going on. You know, all the feel-good chemicals like dopamine, serotonin, these are all being put out of balance. I mean, the serotonin, that's lifted in the beginning when you first drink, but over time, you know, those serotonin levels, they deplete, and your dopamine levels, they just get completely out of balance. So that's why people get addicted. That's why tolerances come about. So you begin to live your life in a fog. You begin to live your life through this fog of stupefaction. And the thing is that you don't notice it because it happens so slowly. It's like the tolerances of your body, the tolerances of your mind, they happen so slowly. The pushing down of your own intelligence, the pushing down of your own wit, your charm, everything that is good about you is gradually pushed down as everything is sucked into this alcohol universe. So you completely get used to living like this. You know, you don't even notice the stupefaction. And it's only when you stop drinking, and you've stopped drinking for a nice bit of time, that you start to realize how clear your thinking is becoming. And not only how clear your thinking is becoming, but how your intelligence is starting to rise, how your levels of wisdom are starting to grow, how better your thinking is, how better your decisions are and your choices. And that's because the mental consequences of what you've been doing are starting to disappear and dissipate if you stop drinking. This brings me on to the third of our destructive elements, and I think this is the most important one. This is the most destructive one, and that's your mindset. This really affects everything that you do. I used to look at myself where any problem that I had, I would turn to alcohol. You know, especially in the last 10, 15 years, you get used to it. You know, it's when you have a problem, you start thinking, the first thing you think about is drinking. And it doesn't solve the problem. The problem is still there when you get sober again. It just makes the problem worse. And it makes your thinking worse because you're damaging your brain. And once you drink alcohol, the next day you're a little bit worse for wear. You're a little bit worse, in a worse position to deal with the problem. Isn't that bad? It's sad. This is what I call the medication mindset. You know, the sad thing is that alcohol also becomes a big part of our ordinary life. You know, relaxing, socializing, celebrating, you know, celebrating those big times in our lives when you want the memory, you want to be able to remember these things, but instead we turn to alcohol. You know, something good happens in your life and you go, yeah, let's celebrate. You celebrate and you remember nothing the next day, or very little. And you should remember everything. This is what your life is made up of times like this, when you have successes, when you have moments that are worth celebrating. And what are you doing? Toxifying yourself. Toxifying yourself enough that you can't remember the most basic of things. But it's not just these times, it's like any excuse. You know, when it's sunny outside, oh, it's a great day today for sitting outside in a beer garden, having a few pints. Ah, it's pissing rain outside, sure. Might as well go into the pub and have a few, or have a few to drown my sorrows. And when it comes to emotions, well, yeah, hey, you know, when I'm sad, I'll drink. When I'm happy, I'll drink. And eventually, those emotions become tied to alcohol. So you can't feel happy without alcohol, or you feel like there's something missing. As soon as you feel sad, you want to drink alcohol to forget. You know, that's one of the great things about stopping drinking, is that it might take a while, but your emotions start to balance themselves out again. So the idea is to try and bring back your emotions to what you want them to be, where you want them to be. You know, you want your emotions to be attached to the things that you're doing in life, not something that you're putting inside your body, you know, not something that is a medication. I mean, do you want to medicate your life away? You know, that's what happens with alcohol. That is why the withdrawal is painful. It's because we're trying to get away from that inbuilt stuff, that inbuilt mindset that we've done to ourselves. And we've done it over many, many years. And to stop doing that, you have to stop drinking alcohol. Now, if you can't stop thinking about alcohol once you've stopped drinking, once you've got sober, watch this video next. All right, take care. Bye now.